Now let's go to our correspondent Jack Barton in Seoul for more details about that. Well, Jack, first of all, what more could you tell us about the key result military drill? And also, we know that top US diplomat for East Asia, Susan Thornton, is continuing her visit to South Korea. What's the focus of her trip?
Well, that's right. Key resolve getting underway. It is a massive military drill, but it is all simulated. So it's done in the virtual world, simulating an attack on South Korea by the DPRK, not just on military facilities, but it also runs through simulations of what would happen if key infrastructure were hit, like power stations, the water supply. We're not expecting a huge reaction, though, from Pyongyang, and the reason is the much larger and real-world Foal Eagle war games have been going on for the past 2 weeks, and we had helicopters buzzing around overhead yesterday doing mock search and rescue operations. Despite the fact that we're seeing the choppers up in the sky and jets overhead, publicity is being kept very low-key. There's no press events, there's no publicity material being put out. So the US and South Korea really making an effort to downplay what have been much smaller war games than usual this year. On top of that, as you mentioned, Susan Thornton arriving, the standing Assistant Secretary of State for Northeast Asian Affairs. She's the one handling what will hope to be the meeting between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un. So she's here talking to officials ahead of the Inter-Korean summit just to make sure everyone is still on the same page. She's meeting with Foreign Minister Kang Kyung-hwa today. But even arriving at the airport, she said regarding that freeze that was announced by Pyongyang of missile and nuclear tests, that it was a very positive development, again opening the way for what should be more optimism looking ahead at these summits.
Oh, Jack, an inter-Korea working level meeting is being held in the Panmunjom Truce Village. What could you tell us about that meeting?
Yeah, there's a lot on the agenda at that meeting today. They're going to be discussing, as you mentioned, the live broadcast of the meeting. We won't get a live broadcast of all of the details, but no doubt the handshake and the arrival. And we've been told as of yesterday that live broadcast will go out on mobile devices as well. So they'll put it up on the ministry website. Everyone can watch it. You don't have to turn onto the TV or even go to the computer. On top of that, though, they're talking about when Kim and Moon will hold their first phone discussion ahead of that summit on the hotline that was established on Friday. So clearly there is an intention to hold preliminary talks between the two leaders before that summit takes place. That's a very positive sign. Another very positive sign is that they're also discussing whether to have high-level talks between officials on the sidelines of that summit going on simultaneously. And the reason that's a positive sign is you don't really have something like that unless a lot's already been agreed to quietly in these working level meetings. So that could be to kind of formalize measures that have already been agreed on and to then try and get those implemented. And to create an even better atmosphere than the one we've already got, and it is pretty good. South Korea has shut down its propaganda speakers at the border. They broadcast 20 kilometers into the DPRK. The DPRK has the biggest flagpole at its propaganda village, but South Korea has the biggest speakers. They were shut down in 2015, but put up again after that fourth atomic test, but they have now been silenced once again.